Okay, good day ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to talk about in this video is understanding the rules around how we can use media from the World Wide Web in our school projects. So when I talk about media, what I'm really referring to are the images, video, sounds, games, in fact any digital or non-digital content that you can find. Okay, these all come under the umbrella term of media. So let me give you an example. Let's imagine that we've been asked by our teachers to put together a project around race cars. Here's what you're probably going to do. Number one, you need an image of a race car for your school project. So you go to Google and you enter race car into the search engine, you find the image that you like, then you copy and paste the image into your project, and then you wait for the great grade to come from your teacher. Happy days. However, you have probably just committed a copyright violation. So, before we talk about what is a copyright violation, let's just talk about what is copyright. Well, copyright law is designed to protect the rights of the person that created the media that you are using. So the person who created the image of that race car, their rights as the owner of that image are protected by copyright. It's not just the media, it's the idea as well as the media are both protected from being stolen, modified or misused. Okay, so that's what copyright law is all about. A copyright violation occurs when you make a copy of someone else's work without permission. So if you modify someone else's work without permission, if you sell somebody else's work without permission, or if you misuse somebody else's work without permission. Those are the four main categories of when you are committing a copyright violation. So, is everything on the World Wide Web copyrighted? Well, actually, everything on the World Wide Web will fall under three categories. Number one, it's copyrighted, which means it's protected. Number two, it's public domain, which means it's not protected. Or number three, it's commons licensed, which means it can be used without direct permission under certain conditions. So commons licensed is like halfway between copyrighted and public domain. Now, by default, all work is copyrighted. If you are using or displaying or modifying media that is copyrighted without the express permission of the owner, then you are breaking the law. Okay? So I said that all material on the World Wide Web falls under three categories: copywritten, Creative Commons, and public domain. Copywritten material may not be used without express permission of the owner. There are exceptions called fair use policy, but quite frankly, given the complexity behind these exceptions, we're just not going to rely on the fair use policy and say we should only be using Creative Commons and public domain material. Okay? By default, all material on the internet is copywritten. So unless you know for sure that you're going to be using Creative Commons or public domain material, you're using copywritten material and you need to get permission of the owner to use it. Okay. On the far side of the spectrum is public domain. Now this is material that you can freely use. Okay? Any material that's been around for more than 50 years is generally public domain and is not copywritten. So the works of William Shakespeare, any song that's more than 50 years old, any paintings that are more than 50 years old. Pretty soon we'll start getting computer games that are more than 50 years old. These are all said to be in the public domain, and you can use these and sell them and modify them and do whatever you like with them. Okay? There are no copywritten rules associated with them. There are specific websites that make public domain material, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. Now, in between these two ends of the spectrum, we have something called Creative Commons. So, Creative Commons material is material that you can use and share without the express permission of the owner, okay, providing you follow some simple rules. So You don't have to seek permission to use this media, providing you follow some simple rules set up by the owner. And the type of rules tend to be things like you're not allowed to sell the material. Okay, so if you're getting material from me for free, then you have to make your work for free for the next person. Or the material has to remain intact. You're not allowed to take my work and modify it, and you have to say you have to have an attribution to the artist, which means you have to put my name on the work. And again, there are specific sites that make Creative Commons material available. So this slide just shows us a couple of websites that we can use to find our public domain and Creative Commons material. So for images, vector images, sounds and music, there are plenty. And this is just me searching. Within about 20 minutes, I found these sites. So there's really no excuse not to use public domain or Creative Commons material. In fact, it's only really laziness that it makes us go down the route of copying and pasting from Google Images. And that laziness is undermining the whole copywritten system. So remember, when you need material for your projects, search for Creative Commons or public domain media using those websites that I've just given you. Always make sure that you comply with license requirements, and always err on the side of caution. Don't use copywritten material in your projects, and everything will be fine.